Hurricane Fran and the remnants of led to widespread flash flooding and ultimately river flooding across the area. Rainfall totals across the area just absolutely incredible, several inches. But there was also a situation going on before the storm that kind of helped set up the stage for that destruction. This all started with a lot of snow in January, well over our seasonal average for winter, and summer rainfall was 5 inches above average between June, July, and August. And even just in the 2 days before Fran, most of the area saw about an inch of rain. So all of that tropical rain fell on an already saturated ground. It's very important to remember that each storm is very different, but each storm does have a lot of consequences. The area has not been hit by a major tropical system since Isabel in 2003. So even though it doesn't happen very often, it does happen, and it's important to always be prepared.
It's been nearly 20 years since Hurricane Fran slammed the East Coast and dumped buckets of rain in the Shenandoah Valley. And New Tonight Chief Meteorologist Aubrey Urbanowicz joins us from our First Alert Weather Center for a look back at that disaster.
Well, rainfall between 6 and 16 inches across the area on an already saturated ground, power outages, flash flooding, water rescues, and hundreds of downed trees and homes destroyed. That's just some of the devastation caused by the remnants of Fran. And a number of changes have been made in the valley since the storm. Check out how far one family has come since the rains came down and the floodwaters came up. This is how the Shenandoah River is supposed to look, but in September of 1996, 6 to 14 inches of rain fell across the region on an already saturated ground. Rivers quadrupled in size and damaged thousands of homes.
We really did a good job in preparing, but at the end of the result, I don't know if there was any way we really could have prepared for what did occur.
Robbie Simons was the chief of Rockingham County Fire and Rescue at the time of the storm. The magnitude of the flooding so significant, it was hard to imagine the vast devastation, even with advanced warning. In Criders, Lynn and Nancy Ennis evacuated their home before the storm hit.
The evening that we left when the flood was happening, we felt sure the next morning there would be no house.
They built their house here in 1964.
We got engaged and we decided we wanted to have our house ready when we got married and came off our honeymoon.
After 32 years in their home along the German River, a tributary of the Shenandoah River, Hurricane Fran's rushing floodwaters came up to their doorstep. In addition to Criders and northwest Rockingham County, Luray and the Naked Creek area in Elkton were also some of the hardest hit areas. Today, the Shenandoah River in northwest Rockingham County is at 3 feet. Flood stage for this river is at 15 feet. In September of 1996, this river crested at 28 feet, causing widespread, devastating flooding, and most rivers across the valley crested at record levels.
The water was actually over top of the bridge.
Roads either covered in water or just collapsed.
Basically, that whole approach was totally washed out.
Folks Run was cut off.
It was cut off totally.
Back in Criders, as the rushing floodwaters started to recede, Nancy and Lynn were anxious to see what damage was done.
At daylight, he said, "I can see the house."
What was your reaction to that?
Cried.
The house survived the flood, but it was too dangerous to live in the same spot, not wanting to walk away from the home they built and shared so many memories in.
We put the house on wheels and moved it.
3 months after Hurricane Fran's raging floodwaters threatened to take their home away, the house was moved to higher ground just around the corner. Simons helped the couple get a grant to move their home to higher ground.
It's been a long time, hasn't it? Yes, it has. 20 years ago.
This was the only house that was moved as part of a flood mitigation project with the county and FEMA. Other homes damaged were either demolished, razed, or rebuilt.
I felt really good to be able to truly help a group of people and help them out. And it all worked out. Yeah, me too. Me too.
Happy ending.
That's right.
Very happy ending.
Lynn and Nancy have now been married 52 years, and the house just as old, but in a safer place.
Do you ever look at the pictures?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we'll get them out.
You wouldn't think about that much water coming down this small river, but it did.
With each passing storm or heavy rain since, instead of fear, they now feel relief.
We're glad to be up here. It was a lot of work, a lot of headache. At least we can sleep at night.
In Rockingham County, I'm Chief Meteorologist Aubrey Urbanowicz, WHSV.
And in addition to flood mitigation projects, there are some programs out there, several of them, in fact, even for animals, put in place as a result of the flooding from Fran back in '96.
That's right. The Rockingham County was one of the first counties in the state to implement an animal shelter program at the fairgrounds, and this program is still available if a disaster were to happen, so the little ones like little Bear here aren't left behind during an emergency situation. And the Swiftwater Rescue Team was also created as a result of the storm.